Next up, we've got Friends of Chartered Spectrum here. We have Dan Usellis. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning,
sir. Also, Dalton Workman.
Yes, thank you.
Kind of give us an update on the broadband project.
Happy to. Thank you all so much for having me this morning. Always good to be here. I'm here to talk about, and I've got a beautiful new printout for you here, Judge, of the projects we have going on in Mason County in Maysville. So I'll talk a little bit about this and I'll leave this with you. You can do with it as you will. But as you know, we have actually two projects underway right now in Mason County. The first one, and this is what's spurred a lot of the conversations that we had with Judge, almost 2 years ago, maybe more than 2 years ago, was our first big expansion project across the country, which was a federally funded program. Across Kentucky, we received about $58 million, and our company put up more than $100 million to expand broadband. We call it the RDOF project, Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. That's kind of phase one of our Mason County project. That on this map is the blue areas here. So basically, if you're in that blue area, your house is going to be connected with fiber to the home service. Full, high speed, gigabit level speeds, the fastest speed you'll get anywhere. Every house in those blue areas is going to be covered by that project. It's about 830, 829, something like that, homes. And that project is underway. So we are in the whole permitting process of that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that process here in a minute. Phase two is what we've been working with the county and the city on now for a couple of years. I'll start with the bad news, which is that we went after a state grant award this last round. We were very hopeful that we would get the funding covered by the state. That way the city and the county could use those funds for other things. Unfortunately, we did not get that award. It was heartbreaking, it was unfortunate, but the good news is because of your county leadership, because of your city leadership, you all are now still ahead of the curve. And so we're still further along in your all's project than we are on the awards that were announced last week. So you're still in a very good position. We wish we could have saved you all some money with that award. But as I told the judge, you know, we think of ourselves as your partners. So if there are other opportunities, other state funds, federal programs like that we can try to go after. There are not any right now. Probably not until next year will be the next big round of. You probably heard them talk about BEAD, the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment, something like that. That's the $1.1 billion from the federal government that is coming to Kentucky for additional broadband expansion. If there are opportunities through that or anything like that, we're here to work with you all on any of that. But in the meantime, we're going to start building broadband. As I mentioned, that RDOF project is already underway. The rest of the project that will cover about 4,800 homes throughout the county and the city is, like I said, further ahead than a lot of these projects that just started last week. So when we have any sort of broadband project, and again, every one of those homes, full fiber to the house, not just down the street, it will connect the house with internet if they want it. When we start a project like that, the very first thing we do is we have to do a lot of kind of back-end work, a lot of design, a lot of scaling the project. We have to go out and walk every single road, every single driveway, look at every single pole, measure the pole, take pictures of the pole, package all this data up. There's a big 6 to 9 month process at least that happens before you really start seeing movement. The good news is we've done that for your project. So a lot of these projects that were announced, the state grants last week, they're just now getting into that. You all are a little bit ahead of that schedule. So where we are now is we have taken all that information from our walkouts, from our designs, and we have packaged that up and sent them to the pole owners. So when we deploy fiber, we basically go along the route of electrical. If it's in the air, we're putting it on poles with them and renting that space on the poles. If it's underground, we're going underground there too, generally speaking. And that pole process is really the number one cause for delay in the project. Basically, before we started doing all this broadband expansion, we might ask a pole owner to attach to poles a couple hundred times a year. Now we're doing thousands and thousands a month. And so we understand we're kind of overloading their system right now. And so we're trying to find ways to work with pole owners and say, look, we're covering all the costs of this. We'll replace the poles if they need to be replaced. We're paying for the work to be done. We'll do whatever engineering we can do to help. What can we do to make it go faster? Because the faster those pole permits turn around, as soon as those come around, within months, we're putting up all the fiber. Well, immediately we're putting up all the fiber, and within 4 to 6 months probably we're done. So once we get those permits back, we can really start laying the groundwork and putting that fiber up and connecting homes. So that's the process we're in right now. I've had some conversations with Judge about having some conversations with Fleming Mason and I think KU. Sure. Who else is potentially out there? In other projects across the state and across the country, where we've had success is where we've had open dialogues, frequent meetings with the pole owners and the local officials to just say, hold everybody accountable. Make sure we're paying our bills on time for that make-ready work. Make sure they're turning the work around and getting that stuff turned around quickly so that we can connect more homes. So I'm happy to stop there and answer questions. We're still very excited. Like I said, we're getting to the really fun part of this, where we'll start getting these pole permits back. Once we start doing that and we start actually running fiber and hooking up homes, I'll give you more frequent updates about how many homes we've connected, what's coming next, and all of that. Questions? Where can we start?
Are you able to predict when that process may finish, or give an idea?
So we took that, and I think this was a very smart approach. We took that the poll process into account with our contract with the county. And so we committed to get all of our poll permits in within 6 months, which ensured that we got that project to that phase as quickly as possible. We've done that. And I think I can't remember if it was 18 months or 24 months after we received those permits back to get that project complete. And honestly, if what my construction team has told me frequently is, if we have all of our permits back, it's really quick for us, right? A lot of times what happens is we get some back, so we build a little bit, and then we're waiting on some. I mean, just to be frank with you, I have projects where we have pole permits that have been sitting with a pole owner for over a year. Now, we're hopeful that as we do more and more expansion, I think there was a little bit of a learning curve with pole owners, just like there was for us. Like I said, this is a higher volume business than they're used to doing. So we're hopeful that won't be the norm, and that was kind of early stages, and now pole owners are starting to understand the scope of work that's coming. But the quicker we turn those around, we had other counties. I had a big project in Trimble County where we worked closely with the pole owner there. They kind of understood the scope of the project. They came in, they bought like 500 new poles. We paid for a lot for them to store them while they did all the work, and they knocked out all their pole work in like 5 or 6 weeks. That's a dream scenario, right? If we could do something like that here, it would make your project go that much faster. So again, we will build as fast as we possibly can, and we'll do everything in our power to make sure that the pole process goes as quickly as it can as well.
You guys already have a lot of your materials, fiber, stuff like that, already stored here in this county.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we are well positioned. When we started all of this expansion, that was a big concern. We thought there would be 3 major delays. Poles being one of them, fiber material being one of them. Is there going to be enough fiber out there for us to hang everywhere? And then labor. And fortunately, those last 2 have not proven to be issues anywhere we're building, at least in Kentucky. The crews are there. The crews are ready to work. In those other areas where we've been sitting on poles for a year, we've had crews that we've had to turn away because we don't have enough work to give them. So that's not an issue. Fiber materials, there's no shortage for us right now because we are doing so much across the country. I don't know that there's any company that is expanding into rural areas as much as we are, especially in Kentucky and probably across the country. And that allows us to kind of be at the front of the line for supply for both labor and for fiber materials. So for right now, knock on wood, that's not an issue. And so hopefully poles is the only thing, and if we can knock that out, we'll get done quick.
I want to apologize, Maysville City Manager Matt Long for this here as well, our teammate in this project. So Matt, if you have any questions, feel free to throw those out. And so, you kind of hit on it earlier. The county and the city are still very interested in looking for any avenues for additional funding for this project, whether that be BEAD or what have you. And so, I guess what assurances can you give the commissioners, that we can still continue to look for that additional funding?
Absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, we're your partner, and we will do anything in our power to find those funds for you. You have another good partner in CTC that I know has done some work for you, and I'm very close with Heather Mills over there. In fact, I've already talked to her about this project and how we didn't get this round of state funding. They are very good at preparing you for that. And what I'll tell you is, as opportunities come available, we'll work with you, we'll evaluate, we'll see if our project fits, is eligible, what we can do, and we'll go after it. Like I said, the only one I see on the horizon right now is next year's BEAD round. I think what they're probably going to do is, with that 1.1 billion, kind of put it out in a few different rounds. I think I've heard that the first round could be in the 200 million to 300 million range sometime, or hopefully early to mid next year. So if that's happening and we have an opportunity to submit our project, we'll absolutely go after it. And it might make sense too, in trying to evaluate why we didn't get the funding this round. I was trying to figure out what might have happened. I think because we're going so comprehensively across the county and the city, I think the density of our project was higher than some of the other areas where maybe we already serve the city and we're just focusing on the rural areas. So it might make sense to break it up in the future and just say, let's submit the more rural portions of it. Whatever strategy we need to deploy, we'll work with you on that. We'll work closely with CTC. And all I can do is tell you we'll help you any way we can.
So if we didn't get the grant, so are you anticipating that the city and the county will have to go ahead and fund some of this project till it's done?
Yes. So the way we had agreed, we have a contract with the city and the county to move forward with the project using those county and city funds. Within that contract, we had also agreed to pursue other funding sources as well. So I kind of view the city and county money as the backstop guarantee, which allows our teams to continue to go out there and work. We know that the funding's coming one way or another. We hope it's from another source, and we'll continue to find other sources. But if it's not, you're still going to get your project done.
Any other questions? Mr. Walker, you have any questions? Okay. Next steps then on utilities, on KU and RACC. So are we looking to set up poll meetings?
I think that would be really beneficial. I think where like I said, where we've seen projects, there's only a couple other projects that are as far along as you all are. And so what we've done in those areas is had maybe monthly meetings, and as we get further along, we might need to ramp them up or scale them back depending on if everything's going great. But it's been helpful, and in fact we've had poll owners say the same thing. It's helpful to them to see the scope of what we're doing. Sometimes they just see the permits come in and they don't really get a full appreciation for the size of the project. We're not trying to be enemies with them in any way. We want to be partners with them. We hope that this project is a benefit to them. They're going to get a lot of new utility poles and hopefully updated infrastructure throughout rural parts of the county. And so I think having those calls, having them hear how important it is to the county and the city to get this project done will be super beneficial. And so, yeah, I would probably encourage that as the next step.
Any additional questions, commissioners? Ben, greatly appreciate your time today. Thank you, both yourself and Mr. Workman.
Yes, I'm sorry, I should have introduced, Dalton Workman joined our team this summer, and he is helping me kind of carry the load of getting all these updates out, and so we're working on more communications, frequent updates, and so you'll have more information about your project.
Appreciate your time.